All right, what's up, everybody? It's Jordan back here, episode 3 of 365, Jordan's Corner, a little video podcast series. I just got done running some sprints out here by this little river runs by my place. You can check it out. Yeah, just running, taking in some scenery. Actually, this place smells pretty nasty, but anyway, so what I wanted to talk about today was conditioning. I was thinking about it today, obviously, 'cause I'm doing some conditioning. Probably one of the biggest barriers people have to getting lean, or actually, and I'll even make the argument of getting stronger, is that they won't do any sort of conditioning work. Mainly because, we're told that if you do conditioning, you're competing for your muscles' ability to grow larger or get stronger, and, only sissies do cardio, especially steady-state stuff, which is a whole other argument in and of itself. But what I want to talk about conditioning today is basically people just won't do it. And I think it's, I don't necessarily think that there's this whole elevation of caloric expenditure. I mean, that does happen. I just don't know if that's the most significant factor for what conditioning does. So basically, we're talking about conditioning. There's two types. There's going to be your steady state stuff. That's just hopping on the treadmill, elliptical, or whatever, walking, 30, 40 minutes to an hour or whatever. And it's just, basically you're going to burn calories, and whatever you burn during that session is what you get out of it. And then the other type is going to be high intensity conditioning, sprint intervals, stuff like that. And you're not actually going to burn too many. I mean, you're going to burn some calories while you do it, not a crazy amount because the duration is so short, but you are going to create an oxygen debt. And basically for the next 24 to 48, and I think even some studies have said up to 72 hours, your metabolism is going to be elevated. And it's basically this whole process called excess post-exercise oxygen consumption, or EPOC. So yeah, you do your sprints, you do your intervals, you're going to be burning more calories over the next 24 to 72 hours. And like I said, I don't know if that's the biggest reason why conditioning helps people get leaner. My theory is that if you're actually the type of person, or you're in that mindset where you're going to take time out of your day and do conditioning work, especially high intensity stuff that's going to make you, hate life and breathe hard and everything else, you're probably the type of person that's also going to stick to your diet. And I think that too, it's like a positive feedback cycle. So, you do your conditioning, you're going to stay on the diet today. If you skip your conditioning, you might be a little lax on your nutrition. So I always like to put some conditioning work, especially high-intensity stuff, in people's programs, especially when they're really trying to get lean. And there's there's this whole thing like work-to-rest ratio, and I myself use about a 1-to-4 or 1-to-5 work-to-rest ratio, so 20 to 30 seconds of effort, and then I'm going to rest 4 to 5 times that amount, so up to 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes of rest in between efforts, depending on how long my work interval is. And what that's about is, I'm a strength athlete, I'm a power lifter. I like being strong, and I compete in those sort of sports, so I don't necessarily need, endurance for days. I basically need to be able to recover from putting in a concentrated amount of high effort, in that energy system. So I'm basically training these very short energy systems to be able to recover faster and faster, and improving my recovery that way. Somebody who's more endurance biased, they're they run track and they run the mile, or they're a triathlete, this and the other. They can still benefit from intervals, but I'm never going to make their work-to-rest ratio 1-to-4, 1-to-5. It's going to be more 1-to-1, 1-to-2, or 1-to-3, so they can still experience that real high-intensity effort. Also, their intervals are going to be a little bit longer. Instead of the 10, 20, 30-second range, it's going to be 30, 40, 50, or even a minute or longer if I'm doing some lactate work. So, but that's for another video log. Basically, my thing is, if you're trying to get stronger, or if you're trying to get leaner, or just in better shape, you need to do some conditioning work. And the first thing I would do is have 2 conditioning days in there, and it shouldn't take you longer than 15 minutes to do of the actual work, although you might have a 5-minute warm-up and 5-minute cool-down. But basically, you need to go hard 10 to 30 seconds, rest 3 to 4 times that amount of work, and then repeat 6 or 7 times. The thing is, you have to actually be able to put in a lot of effort. So sprinting, I don't actually recommend to most people, especially people who are overweight or that have been previously sedentary for a while. And because, for 2 reasons: one, if you're overweight, the running thing, just the impact on all the joints, that's not going to be good for your long-term joint health. And then for people that have previously been sedentary or haven't been sprinting before, they don't have the tissue, the properties of their muscle tissues and connective tissue isn't there yet to allow that sort of high force, high rate of joint movement and joint forces. So it's real easy to blow a hamstring or tweak something, and the goal here is to just kind of get your heart rate up, get some conditioning work in, and kind of make you be compliant on the diet because you're doing the conditioning work. And I don't know if sprinting is smart for those people. So I really like the rower, the Concept 2 rower. You can do it on the elliptical, that works too. The bicycle works really well. In fact, that's where the Tabata method, the 20 seconds on, 10 seconds rest by 8 rounds kind of came from. In that same breath, people who will do their conditioning work but still don't get results, I don't know if they're having enough duration, total of their efforts. So if you're really trying to lose weight, like that's your number one goal, stick with the intervals, that's cool, but you're going to need to stretch it out, have more and more repeats. And so instead of just 6 or 7, maybe bump that up to 10, 12, or up to 15 and do a total of 30 minutes, worth of work. And that's just when weight loss is the number one goal. So I don't usually go that high when strength or performance is kind of coupled in with that weight loss thing, but that's for you guys to play around with. So yeah, conditioning, I think people need to do it. Not only just to get leaner, but also to be able to recover from kind of that max effort work. So, if you're in a powerlifting meet and, you've got 3 squat attempts that are going to be really, really heavy, well, now you got to recover and do some bench press work. And a lot of people gas by the time they get to the deadlift, the third lift, or even towards the end of their bench attempts because they haven't done any conditioning work. They don't have any of that recovery capacity. So I definitely think conditioning should be in everybody's programs. And if you're a strength athlete, kind of aim to that 1 to 4 or 1 to 5 work to rest ratio. If you're more endurance minded, maybe 1 to 1, 1 to 2, or 1 to 3. And then your work intervals should be about 10 to 30 seconds long if you're a strength athlete, or 30 seconds to a minute if you're kind of more endurance minded. Start out doing it twice a week, and then assess your progress from there. Definitely like to see it done on the off days. That way you don't accidentally skip over it at the end of your workout. So anyway, all right, this has been episode 3. Catch you guys next time. Make sure you tweet at me at DFitnessCoach. Get to your questions on the upcoming video podcasts. All right, see you guys.